You scared the shit out of me. I was looking at something on YouTube, and then the thing for StreamYard did the pop button, and I was just like, holy fuck.
And then I figured, holy fuck, there it is.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I was so scared. I was just sitting there, and I was just there like, oh, look at this little girl. She raised a donkey, and they're having a reunion next minute. A big pop sound. I was like, holy fuck, what happened?
Oh, and I said, oh my god.
I want to ask you to really start things off. Now, this is usually just a fun little conversation we have with people. I won't keep you too long unless you have like nothing on the go. Then yes, we'll talk for 3 hours.
I will talk to you for 5, 6, 7 hours if I have to. Really, don't worry.
Yeah. See, now you say that, but the problem is then you'll be like 5 hours, and you'll be like, fuck, Jesus.
And then all of a sudden it's June, and now we're still talking. Yeah.
Be like, yeah. I don't know if you noticed, Nathan. They've done Letterkenny. Your character got like death to the character. It's like, you didn't tell me. It's like, well, we were too busy.
I was doing an interview. What do you want from me?
Yeah. What do you want? You can throw that up there if you want. Nathan, I want to ask you first, like, to really start things off, is like, how do you feel? Now, this might be a little bit of a trigger question, but like, how do you feel about those Edmonton Oilers, man?
Oh my god!
This is my evil life.
All right. First of all, I'm out of here. Number one. Second of all, how do I feel about the Edmonton Oilers? Okay, so here's the thing. Like, I grew up in Calgary, so I'm a huge Flames fan. I've been a Flames fan for my entire life. I remember going to games with my dad when I was like 3 years old. So I've been going to the Saddledome forever, right? So because of that, technically, damn them, obviously. But they are a Canadian team. I really love playoff hockey. Like, holy shit, is it like not the best hockey in the entire world? Like, get out of here, right?
Yeah.
So I do want to see them. Like, if the Flames aren't in, I do want to see the Oilers doing well. Just as I want to see the Jets doing well. I want to see the Canadian teams doing well. And Edmonton this year, I think, has like a legitimate shot at doing pretty fucking well. And I hope they do. Now, that being said, where the fuck are the Flames, and let's have them go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel you. It's like I'm sure you can see by the surrounding here. It's a Detroit room, Detroit Red Wings. But like, my Canadian team is Toronto. But like, I feel like if it's your second team, like if it's your first team, Detroit. Listen, like, I know they're not great. So when people tease me at Detroit, I do get a little bit like, fuck. But when it's Toronto, I can be in a Leafs jersey down in like Toronto Square. And if they don't win against like Tampa, I'm like, fucking Leafs, they do this every year. And then some guy's like, that's your team. I'd be like, second team.
Second team. Come on. Let's be honest here. Second team, damn it.
Yeah. Then you get some other guy be like, they're my third team. Third team? Like, me and you team up against him. This is his third team. Let's figure out his first two. And he's like, well, first I go for like Seattle and then Dallas. I'd be like, no, you get out of here. And then he's like, yeah, but that's your second team. I'm like, whose side are you on here? Team third string or team second string?
Come on, but also let's say it right now. Pick a side, damn it. Yeah. Pick a team, for fuck's sake. Yeah.
Well, for fairness, I mean, I grew up liking Detroit when they were in the West. And then Toronto was East, so I could make the argument, this is my West team, this is my East team. As a kid, you're like, I have both sides covered. Thank you very much. And now when they're both in the same division, it's almost like, you know what? I know there's a rivalry, but it's like when you see fans at Toronto games and it's Montreal and they have the split jersey. I'm like, I'm like, both Toronto and Montreal fans, don't worry about fighting each other. Fight jersey guy over there. He can't pick a side.
You know what? That's totally what it is. All right, fuck the sides. Let's fucking fight jersey guy, because jersey guy's the asshole there.
Yeah, because he's going home half a winner, half a loser. Like,
regardless, he's losing at least part of the goddamn game.
Yeah. Like, when the game's over, that's when you figure out who he's like. If like Toronto Montreal goes in a shootout, and he's like, yeah, I'm like, all right, there you go. You got exposed. You're happy. But he's like, but Caulfield didn't score. I'm like, okay, Toronto, Montreal, right there. There's your guy. Go get Jersey guy.
So that fucking fence-sitting Jersey guy.
There you go. Look, I gave you an idea for a character on Letterkenny. Jersey guy.
Jersey guy. But he's okay. So Jersey guy on Letterkenny would be the guy that just gets the shit kicked out of him all the time, just for being a fence sitter.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You have it. Like, I'm just trying to remember characters' names, like, because I know we had, was it Riley, like Dylan Playfair?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember the other guy's name, but like, you just have both of them just in the locker room. They're like, pick a side, Jersey guy, and then like you never know his name. It's like almost like Fez on like that 70s show where you don't know where he's from. But then in the last episode, you can't even say it because in the world we live in, if you're like, yeah, Jersey guy is from Alberta or like Newfoundland, they'd be like, hold on a second. That's not right. So you just gotta keep it a mystery.
Keep it a mystery, and then that's the thing. It's like if you keep it a mystery, then it's at least there's gonna be like less of like a melee and a huge fight if you keep it a mystery. If you pick sides, there could be one. Who knows?
That's it. I watched that 70s show. I've watched like that 90s show because I gave it a chance. And
did you like it?
You know what? Like, in fairness, I think I did not go to social media after episode 1. I just kind of stuck it out. And then like there are definitely parts where I'm just still like, okay, is this for me? Am I supposed to be the target audience here? But
right.
I think with any show, you have to give it like 3 or 4 seasons. Like, you can watch Friends. Like, I love Friends. You can watch season 1 of Friends and you're like, all right, like season 1's like okay, right? But like if we lived in today's world, it's like it's just okay, it's done. I'm like, and then you don't get 10 seasons of Friends. Good job, assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that's the thing, though. It's like, but I think you're right though, because it's okay. So making a TV show is hard enough, right? And so one episode really difficult to actually like pick a side. Okay, either good or bad or whatever. Even a season can be fucking difficult to pick a side, right? It's just like sometimes you need more episodes or you need more seasons. And look, it could take a really good turn. You know, season 1 or even episode 1 could be like, kind of whatever. But say you get into it, then it starts to get better. Then it starts to get way better. And if you'd only given it 1 episode, well, then you're kind of fucking yourself over, right?
Yeah, well, it's like How I Met Your Mother. Well, like you can pick it with any episodes, right? Like I look at like, I think for me, I did it the opposite way with Friends. Like I seen it at a Walmart and I bought season 8 first. And then I was just like, right. And then my friends were like, what are you doing? And I was just like, well, I'm an idiot. I just want to see what it's about. And I was like, but then I watched I'm just like, okay, so I think it's like it starts with after the marriage of Chandler and Monica. And I was just like, I'm lost. And they're like, no fucking idiot. Of course you're lost. And I was like, okay. Then I watched it in order and I'm like, this is actually pretty decent. But I was never into Friends when it was on TV. So I was like a year later, like I'm the guy at a party where it's like, have you ever seen Friends? Such a great show. They're like, when it was on TV, you idiot. So I did that with How I Met Your Mother. Yeah.
Oh, really? I think that's so funny. Idiot. Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's a real conversation. No, like, this is why I have crippling anxiety. No.
This is verbatim why I have crippling anxiety. Exactly. Yeah.
No, it's like and then when How I Met Your Mother came out, it was the same kind of spinning wheel. I was at a Walmart and it was How I Met Your Mother and Big Bang. And at this point, I'm still a university student. It's like I don't have a lot in my bank account, but I'm like, you have to choose one. And my brother's like, it's your birthday's around the corner. Do you really want to watch both? I'm like, I'll give both a shot. And I found myself favoring How I Met Your Mother more than Big Bang because How I Met Your Mother, I got right into it because I guess in my stage of my life, I was like, I felt related to Ted. But in Big Bang, I'm like, I am not a fucking smart, geeky nerd that, so I was like, I don't feel like I'm related to this character.
Fair enough. Totally fair.
I gave it time because I liked Kaylee Coco from 8 Simple Rules, and I wanted to watch it for her originally, and then I like both.
Hey, did you watch her other one called I think it's called The Airline or something like that? Did you see that one? Yeah, the one about the plane. So if I'm not mistaken, it's got 2 seasons. What did you think about that one? Because I thought it was pretty good. Like I thought season 1 was pretty good. I think I got through season 2, but I thought season 1 was pretty good.
So my thoughts on that is like I watched season 1. I haven't watched completely the whole season 2, but I think like just in terms of a character, like I'm just fascinated with her per se because it's just like watching her from 8 Simple Rules where she's like the ditzy teenager to Big Bang where they kind of make her play ditzy, but at least they evolve. Now, granted, they didn't get the time to evolve in 8 Simple Rules because of the passing of Paul or I think Ritter. There you go, John Ritter.
Yeah, John Ritter.
So, but it's nice to see. Like I thought the shoots was going to be at first typecast as always the ditzy blonde, and then I'm like, you know what? Like you can either like a character and stay with them, or you can just be like, fuck it, I don't care about your next project. Like I don't. So like that's how I feel about podcasting, where it's like I seen Tobin on his own show, and now I'm gonna watch him on someone else's show, but he's not being like they're telling him he can't be humorous. I don't give a shit. I want humor, Tobin. But then there might be people that are like, that's my son you're talking about. I'm gonna watch him in everything. I'm like, thanks, Mom. Can you leave the comment section, please?
Thanks, Mom. If you could, and it's not that you shouldn't have any comments, just maybe tone them down a little bit. You know what I mean?
That last comment, that last comment where it's literally like he wet the bed till he was 10. I'm like, we didn't even talk about bedwetting. What are you doing? It's just like, it's just a funny story, darling. Bring it up.
No, nobody even said anything about bedwetting. Yeah, I know, honey. Don't worry about it. It's just nice that people know you. They just want to know the real you.
It's like their genuine intent in like something like that is to make you come across like you're just like everyone else. It's like, well, then why don't you just tell them I play hockey or soccer or that I was terrible at it? That makes me normal.
Or if I'm a regular person, why don't you tell them I like craft dinner? Or why don't you tell them,
why don't you go for the most embarrassing thing?
I sometimes sleep at night like regular people do, rather than, oh yeah, I wet the bed. And not just wet the bed, I really wet the bed.
Oh yeah. It's like the scene from, what is it, like Waterboy, where it's like she wants to marry Adam Sandler's character. It's like, oh yeah, that's his sheets over there, and he's like, oh, thank you, ladies. I will go kill myself. Or I'm just like
it's in the back. It's in the backyard, and it's like flopped over the clothesline, and it's just like soaked. There's like a huge, there's a huge piece.
Excuse me, ladies, till I go, and I'm just like, it's like I get that totally.
And that's how you relate to him. That's a big bedwetter.
Well, I mean, my favorite Sandler movie is Mr. Deeds, but like there's a whole different realm of that. But like, I like Sandler movies, but you have to go into a Sandler movie knowing there's going to be somewhat of, dumb humor, the same way as like like you go in and watch, was it an Austin Powers movie, and it's like, is that a giant Johnson? Don't look at that. And it's just like, it's like, and I'm just like, it's funny for that time, and it's still funny today, but it's coming. It's like Family Guy. There's like a 5 to 10 second thing in Family Guy where it's literally just Peter holding his knee or an awkward silence where they don't do anything. And you're just like, you had to fill time. They're like, you're watching Family Guy. You knew. What are you talking about?
That's when he like bumps his knee and he does the and then it just goes and goes.
I feel like most episodes in Family Guy had that, where there's even ones where like Brian and Stewie are sitting down and Brian says something like relatively racist, and then Stewie just does and then that's like 10 seconds of that, and I'm just like, okay. Like I feel like they go into the boardroom meetings and like, okay, the episode is 23 minutes, and like, we keep telling you it has to be 28, and they're like, I got an idea.
I tell you what, I have what I'd like to call a perfect solution. What we're gonna do, some people call it killing time. I'm not gonna call it that. I'm gonna call it real good comedy here.
I'm just gonna call it creative genius or drawing humor. They're like, do you mean dry humor? No, because the guy just stopped drawing. And then you just kind of rotate the head, and that makes it humorous. And they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Seth, but love it. You survived 9/11, you get a free pass.
Did you say dry humor? I said no. Drawing
humor. I'm so glad we have a translator. Like,
exactly.
I want to ask you, because I do want to, like, again, it's more or less a fun style conversation. So if there's something that comes up and you're like, hey, I'm not answering that, feel free to be like, Tobin, you're an idiot. And there'll bring flashbacks to that time anyway. But it's like, I want to ask you, because when we were talking about seasons, and sometimes you kind of dive into a season, you like it, or some people take time. Now, I will be full on honest here. My roommates were into Letterkenny way before I was even watching it. And I was kind of like, it's on CRAVE. I don't fucking want to pay for CRAVE. I was like, I got Netflix, I got all this shit. What are you doing? And they're like, but it's a Canadian show. I was like, okay. So then they were watching it, and then I like walked past and like, all right, it's okay. But again, I take a long time to get into shows. But do you think, when did you start to really see, I guess, people jump on board to Letterkenny? Because I've seen the commercials on TSN. I know TSN sometimes brings in characters when they're doing like trade deadlines and stuff. But when did you start to see like, hey, we got something going here?
Well, it kind of depends on because I feel like there's two levels to that, right? So the first level of thinking about like hey, we might have something going on here was sort of the first time that that happened was when we started with the web series.
Okay.
And so when we did the web series, which were, 5 episodes, 2 minutes each, right? So um, the first one of those type of moments happened with the web series when I believe it was the fifth video, the hockey players video. One of those moments where we're like, holy shit, I think we might have something here was when the view count like started to rack up. And that was kind of a thing where it was like, because we really liked it. We thought it was really funny to begin with anyway. So we're going to do it, regardless. But when the view count started racking up and racking up and racking up and racking up, and then overnight, and it was just like, oh, holy shit, we may really have something here, just speaking on specific numbers and stuff like that. And to go along with that, then having people stop me on the street and be like, hey, you're that guy from those YouTube videos. Those two combined, that was a big sort of like, oh shit, we may have something going
Yeah.
on here. Because that was kind of a big one for that. And then I'm not exactly sure. So, okay, so then fast forward. So now we're in production, and we've already done, we've done a season, I think it was, or whatever. And then when we got renewed, the network decided to take, holy shit, like we have something good. So when we got renewed for a contract that was like X amount of seasons more, that was another big aha, like, oh wow,
Okay.
like they have a lot of confidence in us. So that means to them, they're excited. So that means like, oh shit, this may really go somewhere. So first of all, to get the YouTube count, the numbers, that was a big one. And then obviously getting a TV deal in the first place was like, oh shit, nice, get it. We get to be on TV. This is gonna be awesome. So those were big ones. And then but once we were on the air, um, then and I'm not sure exactly what season it was, but when they wanted like a larger episode order, then we were kind of like, oh wow, this is really nice. Again, they've got a lot of confidence in us. So that makes it be like, oh shit, this could really go somewhere and it could have longevity. So those were the two type of moments where it was I guess apparent in my mind, and I think a lot of the guys would agree as well. That was kind of like, oh shit, we could have something here that could go for a while, and that's a type of feeling you rarely get that, especially with, in today's age, if you want to call it that, uh, where there's so much content, right? There's so much. And so to get renewed and to have bigger episode orders, that's just like, that's the money in the fucking bank right there as confidence from the network, and being like, oh shit, nice. We may have a job for a while and be able to do this thing that we love doing so much. And that's just like, that's fucking awesome. And that feeling is so great because again, not only are you working with people that you really like, you get to work with your friends who were all actors to begin with anyway. So it's not like, they don't have
Yeah.
any, no juice or anything like that. But that's just huge. And that's such a big, like, that is like a really, like, honestly, just a huge smile and kind of like a, wait a
You get
minute.
paid for this? Like,
You're
yeah.
fucking with me here.
Yeah.
We don't get
Yeah.
to do this longer, do we? Because it feels like you're fucking with me right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you do, and then you realize like, oh shit, this could go for a while. And goddamn, I hope it does because it's so much fun. And so that was a big moment like that for sure.
Because I think it's interesting because when you mentioned about the kind of, I guess, yeah, the generational age of TV now, like I look at, because we had this conversation with Dylan way back, and like
Yeah.
Dylan was maybe like, if I'm remembering it, maybe like episode 30 or 40 of this podcast. We've had like maybe 200
Yep.
now, so it's like kudos to me. But
so I mean, so let's just stop really quickly here. Kudos to me. No big deal.
kudos to me. No, I'm doing that deliberately because I'm sure there's someone out there now that is going to be like, man, see, he always talks about himself, and I'm just like, gotta make sure that one hater gets these comments.
Gotta make sure the one hater
Yeah.
actually gets a big old fuck you.
Yeah. But like, so Dylan had mentioned to me, like, because back in the day, if you wanted to like a Canadian show, you were going on CBC, or you're lucky to get on like CTV. Like we have like Hudson and Rex down here in like Newfoundland, and I'm sure like you've had say like Arrested Development, but like you're kind of like really focusing in on people turning on the TV and physically sitting down and watching it. So do you find like now with the generation that we're in that kind of helps you continue to do seasons because people now can watch it on their own time? They can like Crave kind of gets the benefit because if they want to watch Ye, they have to download Crave, and yeah, that's my Newfoundland Ye. They're coming in, and then yeah, there you go. Now there's another comment that's just like, fucking Newfoundlanders. Why do we keep letting them run things?
Fucking Newfies. Yeah.
But do you find that like that helps? Because now people don't necessarily have to be like, oh, Letterkenny's on at 6:00. My kid has hockey at 6:30. Jacob, you're on a fucking hockey. I want to watch Letterkenny.
By the way, I'm pulling you out, motherfucker.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a big one, right? Because like you're saying, okay, so, time was that it was like, okay, so Letterkenny comes on 6 p.m. on Thursday, and if you don't hit it, hopefully you can catch a rerun later that night or, later a couple of days in the week or whatever. But then there was the nice little TiVo box or whatever, right? So then you could record it. So then you could watch it at a later time or something like that or whatever. But with streaming, which is great, so not only is it there, so you can go click a button and you can watch it whenever you want. You can, pause it halfway through. You can do whatever. But also, instead of, and I mean, it's different. Obviously, different shows are doing different things now. But instead of, okay, so Sunday, this comes on at 9 and it's one episode per week, for X amount of weeks, whatever. But when you have an entire season come out, man, not only is, everybody loves this word, binge, you can fucking watch the entire thing in one go. So that really helps. Also, too, I think it really helps because it keeps people interested. I mean, obviously, I mean, hopefully they're going to be fucking interested either way, but it really does.
I lost interest. I'm not binging this. No,
no, I am not binging this anymore. I am turning it off halfway through. But if you have that, it's just like, that type of interest is fantastic with the binge. And so, I think it really, really helps. And it helps, instead of, okay, now I need to, do you remember, so I remember watching shows like Seinfeld and stuff like that. And if they ever had like a 2-part episode, it would be, if you remember last week on Seinfeld, so you'd have to watch the recap, but with streaming, you don't have to do that. You can watch, you already know what happens. And then so you can just pick up right where you left off. And so the interest is right there all the time. So it just continues, which is great because then it lets people, if there is, say, a story arc that goes all through, say, 6 episodes of a season, you can just keep on going and going and going and going. And even if they're self-contained episodes that you don't necessarily have to watch the one before, you still are interested. And that's the main part, is that you're interested in it. And you're going like, oh, I remember this character's name. And I remember what they were doing. And I remember these nuances about the show. And I remember this inside joke. And now they're bringing that joke back. And so I love that. And I think that really does help people. And again, I'll say it, keep people interested, because with so much content, sometimes if you are not the most interesting thing, it's hard, and people can really like lose it and just be like, well, maybe I'll come back to it later, but maybe I won't come back to it later. And so hopefully you do. And man, with like a full season coming out at one time, you can hit it, and just keep going, which I think is amazing because it just helps with the story as well. It keeps people interested. The story's fun, and you just keep going, and people know what's going on from A all the way to B, C, D, E. Like it just helps that way. Yeah, so I love that.
It's funny to watch like old shows now that you can stream, because they do that. Like I remember, what's the one I'm looking at? Like Boy Meets World. That's like one of my favorite shows. But it's like you see an episode where like Corey and Topanga are about to break up, and then they kind of leave it on that cliffhanger, and then like. And then like as a kid when you're watching it, you're like, oh, like that's okay. I'll stay tuned next week because I want to see what happens. But then like when you stream it now, it's like last week on. It's like last week. What? It's like, no, I just watched that 2 seconds ago. Like,
wait, do you mean 30 seconds
ago?
Yeah,
my favorite one, and like I always do it during the summer, kind of when sports are over. Like I'm a big wrestling fan, and so like when I was growing up, you'd watch like Monday Night Raw or SmackDown.
Yes.
But you'd go to school, and then and like I like this as like a comedy bit where it's like when your friend went to sleep, because it was almost like it's like yeah, I watched Raw last night. It's like I watched Trish versus Lita. It's like, oh, so you stayed up till 11 o'clock. It's like, okay, how late did you stay up? It's like I seen Benoit in the main event, and you're still like, you stayed up to the main event.
It's like, and you're here? You got main event? You got main event? Fuck!
Yeah. It's like, and what happened? They're like, you have to wait. And I'm just like, don't do that to me, Jeremy. Like, tell me what happened. But like now, when I go and watch it on the network, it's like it's just so quick. Like I'll look at, say, like a John Cena feud with Booker T, and I'm sure that ranged for like a good 3 months. And I will sit there for like a night and just be like, wait, we're at SummerSlam already, but he just fought him like last week and I'm like, how long have I been sitting here? And then like your niece will be like, we arrived 5 minutes ago. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm just like, when did you show up? I just told you 5 minutes ago.
Oh shit, we're already at the Palace of Auburn Hills and
Yeah,
we're at SummerSlam already? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But it's so nice because I like watching it as like a kind of like, again, just something to enjoy because you grew up watching it. But now I have a niece and nephew that like if you show them a recent picture of Shawn Michaels, they don't know that Shawn Michaels because they're watching it from 2005 with me. So like then they're just like they're going around the room going like sexy boy, and I'm just like, and then like my brother will come in and be like, you were watching wrestling with him again. And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, that's fine. But he's like, can you keep it current? He's like, I don't want he's like, I don't want Michael or my going to school and singing a song that's 20 years old. And the kids are like, what have you been watching? He's like, wrestling.
Sexy boy.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not your boy toy. And then there's like some kids like, dear Brian, your nephew keeps on referring to things as boy toys. I am confused. It's like, I'm also confused. I'm 30 and I don't know what he means either.
It's like, welcome to the club. I'm fucking confused too, man.
Yeah. I'm still confused. I watched it. I'm confused. I want to ask you a little bit about, like, I know we kind of talked about Letterkenny and the whole production side of it, or like how it came to be, but I want to get the behind the scenes because obviously there's a lot of, I guess, timing that has to work out for this to end up in the same place. Like you went obviously going into acting. I think it's funny that you have a whole bunch of like hockey players turned actors. And it's just like, all right, well, can you fucking save some shit for me? Like I like acting, but I'm not a hockey player. Like it's like a role for Letterkenny. I'm like, all right, I applied because I'm an actor. It's like, do you also play hockey? No, I'm terrible at hockey. They're like, no. I'm like, hold the fucking phone. I didn't say I was auditioning to be a hockey player. Yeah, but all these guys are hockey players. What are you going to talk about? I'm like, I'm Canadian. I can talk hockey.
I'm Canadian. I can obviously talk hockey. It's not a big deal. Yeah.
But tell me the whereabouts because I know like I think it's Jared and yourself were playing hockey. I think this is out like maybe Vancouver.
Yeah, in Vancouver. Yeah.
And then this whole idea comes to be. Then like Dylan comes aboard. He has his friend that comes aboard. Is it Andrew?
Andrew. Yeah. He plays Jonesy. Yeah, Andrew plays Jonesy. Yeah.
They come aboard, and then I'm just like it just seems like a match made. But just tell me the whole how the idea came about.
So here's what happened. I met Jared for the first time in Vancouver, and this is a long time ago now. I think I met Jared in maybe about 2010 or something like that. Anyway, so here's what happened. So Jared and I met through some mutual friends. Okay, here it is. There was this bar in Vancouver called Section 3, which is no longer it's no longer a bar. It doesn't exist anymore or whatever, right? So Jared worked at Section 3 and and these are all at different times. So Jared worked there at one time, I worked there at one time, Dylan worked there at one time.
Oh wow, okay.
And so that's one thing. But the main thing was we all played on a rec league hockey team together. So our rec league hockey team was called the Trappers. And so we used to play out at UBC. And here's what happened. We were all actors, but the following people played on the same team on the beer league hockey team together. So it was Jared, myself, Dylan Playfair, Andrew Herr, Tyler Johnston, and the man who plays the Ginger named Jamie Lapointe.
Okay.
So there were 6 of us that played on this beer league hockey team together, and we were all, except for the Ginger, we were all actors that happened to play on the same beer league team together. So that's how we all met. Now, the way that Jared and I started working together was, so I grew up in Calgary, and I'm a huge Calgary Flames fan. And Jared is a huge Calgary Flames fan as well. So we kind of immediately bonded over our love of the Flames. And he and I, we always just had fun riffing with each other, just like sending each other like joke text messages and shit like that or whatever. So we started, how it began is we used to send puns on the last names of hockey players on the Flames, right? So we did that, and then we turned those into like YouTube shorts, and we called them 3 Flames Fans. And so it was just like a little storyline, and it was all just the crux of it was puns on the last names of hockey players. So we did a couple of those, and we just had some fun, and and again, we were both actors before that. So we did that, and then Jared, then we did another one called A Couple of Jays Fans, which was a baseball themed one or whatever. And then Jared approached me and he said, "Hey, listen, I've got this idea. And I wonder if you want to get together and just read it with me. Tell me, and if you hate it, we don't have to do it or anything like that." He's like, "But do it." And so I had so much fun working with Jared. We always had a good time, and we just like laugh our asses off anyways. And so in my head, I'm going, well, even if it's shit, we're going to have fun anyway. We're going to fucking hang out anyways. So he came to me with a thing called Letterkenny Problems, he titled it. And so basically what it was one-liners straight to camera, and it was going to be the problems that you would find in a small town. And so how that came about was Jared and his friends did an anonymous Twitter account called Listy Problems. And it was about his town, Listowel, Ontario. And it was just some like problems you might run into in a small town. And so they had a Twitter account. So anyways, so Jared turned that into a script, and it was one-liners straight to camera of just like funny, like obviously extrapolated, from what the actual problems were. Into one-liner straight to camera. So it would be he would do one, then I would do one, then he would do one, then I would do one. And that's how it came about. And then that got quite popular. So we did 3 episodes of that where it was just different problems you might fucking run into in a small town. And then by the 4th episode, we kind of incorporated a story. That was where we first incorporated the produce stand, where it was like a city guy comes up to the produce stand, and he's looking for organic vegetables while he's smoking darts, like that kind of thing, whatever. And then the 5th one was when Andrew and Dylan got involved, and it was 2 hockey players. And so we decided that they were going to be dating Jared's sister, and he hated them because of that. And so they showed up, and we just ripped into them, and that's where the storyline came from, and that's how we could potentially turn it into a series. And that was it, where it was like, oh, well, we've got these hockey players, they like your sister, we hate them, let's fuck with them, and let's use our wordplay, fuck with them big time. And that's where it went. And so that's how the whole thing started. But it all started because we all knew each other playing on this beer league hockey team together. And then also, Jared and I had so much fun just dicking around, putting up videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So that's where it came from. And then instead of, because how normally it would be, okay, if you want a series, you shoot a pilot, right? And you can show a network as part of like a pitch package. Okay, so this is what we can do, and we can, turn this into a series and blah, 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 whatever. But these videos showed, first of all, metrics showed numbers about how many people watched them, and then showed basically a story arc about where it could go and all these different avenues as to where the show could go. And then they liked it, and then bada bing, bada boom, and then out of Jared's head came these episodes, seasons, and fucking years later, and then you were on this big show that people seem to like quite a bit. So,
So there's 2 things to that. I now understand why Section 3 was closed down, because it's
that's great.
Like all of you play. I know you said different time frames, but can you imagine like you go to the manager, it's like, okay, Dylan wants to be off, Andrew, like Nathan and Jared. It's like, for what? They have hockey night. Who's fucking covering? It's like, okay. And then like now then your hockey team hates you because all of you are like, that's like a whole lineup right there. And that whole lineup is like a third, like in third line, basically your third line is just basically like, we're not playing tonight. Why? We're just working on some things. It's like, fucking hate actors, man.
Totally. Yeah. And then, and that's it. Well, and then it comes down to, you make the decision. It's like, okay, either work a shift. Oh, and by the way, though, working at Section 3 was one of the funnest jobs I've ever had in my entire life. It was all friends. It was so much fun, but it was just like, it would come down to like, well, because, like it's hard enough to get people out for beer league hockey anyway. So if 4 of us don't show up, well, that means there's now 2 people playing for the whole game,
Absolutely,
like,
I want to ask you a little bit about your character on the show. So Daryl, but like it's, I've seen clips, I've watched it. Now I can't say I'm up to date with like the recent seasons, but like is Daryl just kind of like the butt of the joke here a lot of the times? Because what I'm seeing is I relate to Daryl in some ways, because like I've seen one clip earlier where you don't want this party, you don't want this like terrible party idea where it's like, and then the sister comes out, and Jared, Wayne, I think it's Wayne, comes out, and they're more or less like, no, it's a tradition, we're doing it, it has to be done. And then I'm just like, man, I remember those kids parties where it's almost like, dude, I want a Spider-Man party. Well, we're gonna invite over your neighbors. I'm like, I don't want that guy. That guy put me in like one of those turtle sandboxes and wouldn't let me breathe. And we're gonna invite him over. It's like, yeah, but we're friends with his mom, and I'm just still like, yeah, okay, you can be friends with him. Don't make me be friends with him.
Yeah.
But is that like the assumption here? Because like some of the stuff, like I get the idea here is Daryl has big vocabulary, but then there's simple words that he just cannot say. But like he can still snap at you, like have a good comeback. But he just seems kind of clueless.
Yeah. I mean, there definitely is a little bit of clueless there for sure. I think there's sort of two aspects of it, right? So I think okay, if you take the Hicks as a group, right? So you take Daryl, Dan, Wayne, and Katie, right? So kind of without fail, within that group, Daryl becomes the butt of the joke, definitely. But when it involves the other groups, it's like a sort of like a Power Rangers type of thing. It's like everybody then bands together as well as Daryl, and then you fuck up the other group more, right? So if it's just the four of us together, I kind of take a bit of shit, you know. And I take a bit of shit sitting around the table and kind of like, Gary, like, you stink. You know, you're in your barn clothes, like, way to go, like that type of thing or whatever. But when another crew comes and tries to fuck with us, we all band together, and all of a sudden Daryl's got a switch in his head that's just like, and here's my thesaurus, and here we go, and fuck you guys, you know. And then all the other people come to the rescue as well, and it's just like, no, like, we can fuck with them, you know, like, we can fuck with ourselves. But when somebody else comes and tries to fuck with us, well, now you've poked the bear, and the bear doesn't like to get poked, and the bear wants to kind of fuck you up, you know, either using, you know, being a wordsmith, or I don't know, a punch, I don't know. So you can fuck them up either way, right? Yeah.
I feel like it's very relatable in the sense, like, so I'll use the aspect of like from Newfoundland, like, so like if a Newfie and another Newfie call each other Newfies and they make jokes about Newfies, that's cool. But like if someone from outside the realm, like someone from Ontario, and you don't know them well, goes like, oh, like this Newfie comes into a bar and thinks he can, I'm just like, okay, easy. Like you might have just had that as like, hey, you guys are fun, relaxed people. I was just joking. But it's like, we can do that because we've lived through this. But like, we can still embrace you. You can still be a part of it someday. But right now, easy.
It would be like, the way that I sort of look at it too, it's like, okay, so if you take like the big brother aspect of it, right? Okay, so if it's all right, if my big brother wants to kick my ass and wants to call me an idiot and, you know, wants to fuck with me and stuff like that, that's fine. As soon as somebody that's not him comes around and tries to fuck with me, that's not cool. And it's just like, oh, no, you don't fuck with him. I can fuck with him. You know, because we're family, and that's the same thing in Letterkenny. Like, we're family, we can fuck with each other. But an outsider, it's just like, you have certainly not earned the right, and also, okay, you're poking the bear here, and you're gonna get fucked with because there's too much loyalty here, and that's not gonna be good. If you're if you're in the inner circle, meaning family or very, very tight knit friends, fine. Like you're saying, call me a Newfie, kind of fuck with me like that. Somebody who is not. Don't do that, because fuck you, and I don't know you well enough, and you're gonna get a fucking kick in the teeth.
I like when you mentioned about poking the bear, because I think one of the biggest characters that you don't want to poke the bear on this show is Shoresy. I feel like Shoresy is not a person you want to poke.
Right.
But it's like, I want to ask you, like, how did that? Like, I know it's more or less a Jared concept, or like Jared's like the kind of Shoresy guy, but like, how essentially did he get implemented into this show? Because it just seems like Shoresy's just there as almost like, all right, you two smart ass hockey players, or for anybody who really wants to talk to Shoresy just gets burned immediately. But it just seems like, I'll refer to the Family Guy moment where it's like dead air time, where it's almost like, okay, Shoresy, this is your like 3 minutes of straight burns.
Right. I mean, it's like, that's sort of like, and you're not wrong there. That's sort of like the same idea as like, okay, so if in the earlier episodes, and then in the later episodes too, so if the Hicks are all sitting at the produce stand, right? And then and especially like in the earlier episodes, when the two hockey players, when Dylan and Andrew would come up to the produce stand, they would say something and think that they were kind of funny or whatever. And then there's definitely a couple of times throughout the show where I look at Jared, or so like Daryl looks at Wayne looks at Daryl, and then we just go in on them for the next, 3 pages of dialogue, just like calling
Yeah.
them out and being idiots. So that's what it is. So it's just like, yeah, you're just gonna get laid into like that. It's just like kind of, maybe you started and you wanted to have a little bit of a joust verbally or something like that, but it's like, no, oh, guess what? You know what? You're gonna stop talking and we're gonna fucking tear you apart right now for the next 3 pages of dialogue. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of really fun, because then it's like it almost puts like obviously an exclamation mark on all of the jokes and all of the cut downs, but then at the end of it, it's like, period, end of sentence, we're fucking done. Okay,
Yeah.
beat it. We just fucked you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I always think it's funny because when it comes to Riley's character, and
Yeah.
it's like when they're there and they're having this battle with Shorzy, it always
Yeah.
ends up with like them saying something to Shorzy, and it's like
Yeah.
they're like, haha, we got you this time, Shorzy, and then Shorzy's just like,
Yeah.
and it chirp, 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 and the next minute it's like the going between is like, fuck you, Shorzy, and then it just gets like
Yeah.
progressively more sad, where you see their face goes like, fuck you, Shorzy, and then it's just
Yeah.
like, stop talking to him.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
walk
Totally.
away.
You know what? And I got to give credit to Dylan and Andrew too. They're really, really good at that, and they're really good at playing up the they still want to be in there to try and stand their ground a little bit, but it's kind of
Yeah.
like it starts off with a fuck you, and then it's like a fuck you, like I'm still there.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
and
still
again,
like I'm still in this battle, but I don't know
I'm
how much
still
longer I'm going to stay here.
exactly. And again, credit to like Dylan and Andrew are fucking so good at that, and the switch for them that comes within those interactions is just incredible. And I find those guys absolutely hilarious when they do that. Like when they start, they've got their big fucking
Yeah.
chest puffed out. We're gonna do this, whatever, and then it's just like beaten down,
Slowly, yeah.
but still trying to be like, fuck you,
Yeah.
just trying to get that
That last
across.
word.
It's hilarious. And man, and again, like Dylan and Andrew, like those guys are such fucking talented guys too, and comedically and as actors and stuff like that. Like they're so fucking good at it.
Kind of close it out. I want to have, if you don't mind, having a fun game of random questions.
Done. I love random questions. Let's do it.
Okay, and then the first one you're gonna be like, I did not sign up for that. That's not what I asked for.
No, that's when I go, oh shit, I think I'm losing connection here, and I just close the laptop.
Yeah, and then that's when I like being not self-aware. I'll be like, oh, is he back? Is he back? It's like,
Oh,
Brian,
can we
it's
get
2
him?
hours ago.
Can we get him back, please? I think we should get him back. Yeah.
Yeah. PR
All right,
person's like, how long did you go for? I'm just like 3 hours. Like 3 hours. What? I'd be like
3 hours, but it looks like you've got about 2 hours of darkness there. That's a little bit weird.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, my camera wasn't on. All right, so the first random one they have is, if you could play any character in like a TV show, what would it be?
Holy fuck! Does it have to be drama, comedy? What can it be? Can it be anything?
It's wide open. I'll leave it wide open.
Okay, I love Matthew McConaughey's character in True Detective season 1.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love that character. I think it's awesome. He's fucking verbose. He is weird and dark, but he knows what he's doing. He's also very he's calm, he's understated, but he's a fucking badass.
Are we talking about the character or Matthew in general? No,
I'm talking about the character. God knows how close it is to him, but yeah. No, I love that, man. Him in True Detective season 1 is awesome. If we're talking about comedy, I would love to play Will Arnett's character in Arrested Development. I'd love to play Joe Bluth. I think that would be so much fun. Plus, that set looked like it would be so much fun to do. It looks like you could play around so much and have a fun time. Plus, too, it's like, working on a comedy. There's so much opportunity. Like there's obviously opportunity to have funny when the camera's rolling, and the stuff that they keep, but stuff when that they don't keep and stuff like that. Man, being on a comedy is so much fun because you get to joke and laugh and you get to have fun at your job. Like, fuck, what could be better than that? And my answer is I don't know. So I'd love to play Joe Bluth. Or again, on the flip side of that, McConaughey in True Detective season 1 for sure. Yeah.
I think I'd just like to be like, if it was for me, I think I just like to be like an extra on like The Big Bang Theory, just because I think I could play like now I could say Friends, but I don't see myself as being like a friend group. Like just say like,
Sure.
like how did he get into the friend group? And I'm like, I'm written off within 2 seasons because I'm like the dork that Phoebe dated or something. But like in Big Bang Theory, I could just be like this random like asshole for like 5 seasons, or just periodically shows up, and like I'm Leonard's nemesis because I'm just there. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
totally.
we gotta deal with Daryl and biochem or something, and it's like,
Of course.
there you go.
Well,
Yeah.
you could do like Paul Rudd in Friends for like the last couple of seasons. You remember when he was in there? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There's yours. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, awesome. I'm sure Paul Rudd would be happy to hear that. He'd just be like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "You're taking no, Paul. It's done. This is hypothetical. Leave me alone."
Paul, hypothetical. Don't get
Yeah,
mad, man. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's like a very underrated show, but I could say, I could see yourself or like either one of us really being in it. It's like two guys, a girl, and a pizza place. Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds starred in that one, but
Yeah, big time.
I watched that and I was like, how did you not have more seasons? I'm like, it's peak Ryan Reynolds. And if anyone's like, how did Ryan Reynolds become famous? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm convinced that this should have been the starting point.
Totally right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Let's see the next random one here. What? Oh, this one's not overly complex. What position would you play in a sport if it wasn't hockey?
Does it have to be a team sport? Obviously, because what's position?
Yeah. Because what do you mean? You're going to play a position in tennis where it's like, I'm not playing singles. I will
just no, but you could do like sorry, and this is how weird my brain is. Okay, this is just being very honest here. I was like, well, if you were a bobsledder, would you be the front or the back? Honestly, that's actually what I thought. Just
I like when I like when people's minds go that way. Because when I read the question, I was like, other than that, I'm like, maybe it's normal thinking here, Nathan. But I was just like, I defender in soccer. That's
okay.
See?
Okay.
And this is where my mom comments, and your mom would actually comment and be like, "He's normal, I swear."
He's normal. Don't pay any attention to this. It's he's been inside all winter.
Right.
Don't pay
He
attention
hasn't
to him.
slept. He hasn't slept. Look at his eyes.
Yeah.
His pupils are like,
Yeah.
I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here, Miss Dales.
Okay. What position? You know what? I'd like to play point guard. Basketball.
Okay.
Because I like shooting the ball and I'm pretty good at shooting 3-pointers. No big deal.
Really? Okay. I feel yeah.
I'm certainly not tall enough. I'd add. Here's what I'd do. If I was going to play point guard, I would add 3 more inches, and then I'd play point guard.
There you go.
Yes.
I sometimes, you know what? Sometimes the wording in basketball confuses me when it's like he's a short, it's like short guard or short point or something. I'm just like, he's 7 foot. How fucking short can he be? It's like no, sir. That's the position he plays.
I mean, fuck. I guess it's all relative, right? But short does not fucking enter into the equation. There's like one Muggsy Bogues, and that's it.
Yeah, that is when you say that is a short guard. He is the only person that can claim to be short guard. When you say like, yeah, what position does LeBron play? I'm like, again, because it's Canadian. I'm like, probably plays power forward. They're like, no, actually, they call him a short point guard. I'm like, at what point is he short? Like, what are we measuring? His feet? Like, is that
exactly? Yeah. Are we measuring the distance from the top of his head to the roof of the fucking stadium?
That's why he's short, because technically it's not.
Yeah, it's like this and this. Okay, yeah. Okay, then technically he's short because he's a few feet away from the roof of the stadium. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or unless they go by temper, it's like, yeah, he's a short.
Hey, now you're talking. Maybe it has nothing to do with height. It's how fast you burn the fuse. Yeah.
Okay, this one's good. What is a red flag for you?
What is a red flag?
Yeah, like something that like it just instantly like. I know sometimes you'll see it on Instagram where they're like, "Hey, would you date someone with an Android?" And girls go like, "No, has to be blue bubble." I'm like, "That's your red flag." I'm like, I would probably be like, just don't call me an idiot, and maybe we split the bill. Is that okay?
What would be a red? So, are we talking about dating here? Like, what would be a red flag for dating?
Yeah.
A red flag for me for dating would be oh man, that's kind of a difficult one. There can be so many.
We walk down this road with Brett Kissel, and I remember Brett Kissel saying about like the bill of when the bill comes, and he's like, and I agree with him to some extent. He's like, I believe the guy should always pay regardless of how the date goes. And I'm just like, yeah, but here you go, Brett. I'm gonna lay some knowledge on you. It's like, what about if the date didn't go well? She's saying she pays half. So then that way, in your mind as a guy, you're like, well, if she's paying half, she's almost saying, I'm covering my ass for this awful date. And then you're just like, okay, I know not to call, know not to text, leave you alone. But if you're like, if you let me pay, I kind of feel like, and again, someone will be out there now saying that is not what that means. But if you let me pay, it kind of leaves the door open where I'm like, all right, this person enjoyed the time. They're letting me treat them. So I can call or text and maybe set something up future. But if you instantly go for it, then it's almost like this did not go well.
Right. Okay, I'll tell you a red flag for dating. Here we go. So let me create a scenario here. You've eaten dinner. You're out of the restaurant, and you're going to let's say you're going to go continue the date, and you're going to a bar across the street for a drink. Okay. You're at a crosswalk, and the little man is no longer on there. It's flashing, don't walk. And it's flashing and it's going and it's like 5, 4, and you shouldn't go. And she, without asking or without saying anything, just goes on her own without saying, let's go across the street, without checking with you, and just goes and leaves you in the dust without saying, hey, we should do this, or hey, do you want to go with me, or whatever. It's the selfish act of going on your own across the street while the walk sign says don't walk. There, boom, that's a red flag. That is a no good.
That is like when you need, and I'm sure in futuristic it will come when like the don't walk sign comes and they see that because now everything has cameras on it. That is when the song you can go your own way, and then you're just like it's embarrassing enough. Now you added like a monologue to this or like a voice music. Come on, like yeah. No, I feel like that's fair. I mean, the other ones I think it's just awkwardness, but. I met my buddy's girlfriend one time and we were going out for the first time to a pub, and like I remember we brought her into our soccer team. Now I was still in Newfoundland, so I was kind of making this soccer team from Newfoundland, but they're all playing in Ottawa. I'm like, guys, I really don't have control of you. If you want to like do things. Like, what am I gonna do? But there was a little bit of friction there. So at first I was like, all right, like I don't know how I feel about your girlfriend because we don't get along, but like that doesn't separate what you do. But I was like, okay. He's like, she's not a very touchy person. Don't go in for a hug. I'm like, you're telling a Newfoundlander basically. That's like saying to a Newfoundlander, don't be yourself. I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, I go for a handshake, and she went in for a hug, and so the hand just goes like right into the like, and then I was just like, oh, and then I go for, and then she goes like, that awkward, and then I was like, okay, let's just end it like, and then it's awkward enough, but then my friend goes like. While we're in a main road, just think like main road, like Bank Street, Toronto, probably be like, I don't know, just anywhere. But like next minute, he's like, awkward. And I'm like, you made it 10 times more awkward now because you announced it to everybody.
Oh my God. Oh
I was just like, and then to it's just like you're digging yourself a hole because rather than let it go, then I yelled back while they're still walking away. No, that's fine.
So what we're talking about is I believe that's called doubling down.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like and again it comes back to maybe the Newfoundland thing where I'm like, I'm embarrassed. I know they're probably embarrassed. I'm gonna take on double the embarrassment. I'm gonna be the nice guy.
I'm gonna double down here, and it's like listen, and in this scenario, nobody's a winner here.
It's like watching your friend fall down, like when they're drunk, and like you're like any ordinary person would be like laughing and be like just help them up. I'd be like, it's embarrassing. Oh shit, I fell down too. And then they're like, you did not have to fake fall down. I'm like, oh, you knew I fake fall down? Oh man, now I'm embarrassed. And then they get up from being drunk, passed out, and then they're like, you're an idiot, you fake fell down. I'm like, I'm just trying to help you.
Or like, hey, way to fall down, loser. It's just like I fake fell down so that you can feel not bad. What the fuck, man?
Yeah. Now we're both losers and we're both on the ground, and some guy's just like, look, Jersey guy fell down.
Hey, look at Jersey guy. That fucker fell down.
All right. So the last one we have for random question. Let's see. Oh, okay. What is your favorite childhood movie?
Ooh, what is my favorite childhood movie?
If you want to tag me in while you think, I can give you mine.
Let me hear yours because that'll maybe give me because I have one in my head. I have one. So you go.
So I would again. I'm gonna be like the asshole that goes with, oh, can I have 2 options? But
I almost said that.
Because I like The Lion King. I can watch The Lion King. And I like for the most part the games came out on the PC. I was like really into it. I can probably know the lyrics too. I just want to be king. So there's that. But
I just can't wait to be king.
But I think over time. No. Oh, you freeballed it. You did so well. But I think over time, if someone was like, this is your childhood movie, you have to watch it over and over. Monsters Inc. I'd go with Monsters Inc.
Can I tell you this? Let me give you this before I give you my answer.
Sure.
Do you know what movie? And this is not a word of a lie. Do you know what movie I watched last night? Monsters
Monsters
Inc.
Universe. Oh, I was gonna say
Monsters Inc.
yeah,
Nope,
yeah.
no shit. Monsters Inc. I'm not kidding. I swear to God, Monsters Inc. last night. Sully and Boo is maybe the greatest relationship of all time on screen.
Yeah. Well, to kind of bring it full circle here and all that is I don't know like the voice actor or what the name is, and it's like she always makes fun of Mike. It's the secretary. It's like Mike Wazowski, you're late for work.
Yeah.
I like that's like I like that impression, and I like the Family Guy one, but that one is like anytime someone starts to piss me off on this, they're like, all right, you pissed me off the other day, you can go home and leave. And then they're just like, what happened? I'm just like, you can go home with Mike and Sully.
Yeah. I like that. Fuck, what a good movie though. Holy shit, hey. Like what a good movie.
It's sad, though. There are sad parts to it, but go ahead.
It's but it's incredibly sad. It's a fucking great story. It's incredibly sad. It's heartwarming. It's funny. It's got a great relationship between Sully and Boo. It's got all man, I love it. And like no word of a lie, I fucking watched that last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you mine. My favorite childhood movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live action version.
Okay. Pourquoi?
For a couple of different reasons. Number one,
I got my French check, so now I can stream this in like Montreal. No.
Yeah,
there you go. So we're good.
I love that Jim Henson did all the costumes for it, right? Like they were actual costumes. They weren't CGI. They were fucking actual people in the suits and doing that. I love that the Ninja Turtles were like skateboarding kind of punk rockers. I love the story of the Ninja Turtles. You know, it's crawling around in the ooze. I love that it's set in New York. Elias Koteas as Casey Jones. April O'Neil is awesome. It's a great fucking band together and have a great time and get Shredder and stuff. I just love it. And it's a movie that I watched over and over and over again when I was a kid. I love it so much. It's an awesome story. It's got skateboarding in it. They love pizza. They live in the sewer. As a kid, I basically wanted to live like in the Ninja Turtles lair downstairs, like down in the sewer, you know.
Your mom was like, do you want to end up like the Ninja Turtles as if that was a bad thing? You're like, absolutely. They're like, hold on, maybe I fucked that one up for you. Do you not want to be like a Ninja Turtle?
Yeah. And I said, if I am lucky, I will end up like the Ninja Turtles, for God's sakes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then like as an actor, like when you didn't have a TV show or like whatever, you're like, I am actually a Ninja Turtle and this is not fun. I am literally in the gutter.
Yeah, when I found out being in the gutter actually really sucks.
Yeah,
yes. I was
not a Ninja Turtle. I did not like it. Yeah.
Well, but then I thought like, well, maybe Shredder's onto something. Organized crime seems to pay, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go with like a side one here as well. Like, but not so much a random question because we were talking about just the children's like I guess movies. But like, do you ever go back and watch some children's movies and you're just kind of like, I don't know why I was like heavily interested or invested in this? Like, I love the Mighty Ducks movies. But the concept when you look at it years later, you're like, the triple deke faked out a fucking goalie. I'm just still like, that's a fucking ordinary move today, boys.
Dude, the triple deke stop, then have a go at it.
And the goalie's like, oh, how did I fuck that up? I'm like, try that in the NHL. The guy's like, yeah, nice try.
Yep,
just like, but it worked. It worked in the Mighty Ducks. It's like, yeah, win in the 90s. Yeah. You have Trevor Zegras going behind the net with do that in the Mighty Ducks, and I'll believe you.
But you know what's kind of great though is like you know, having Disney Plus and stuff like that. You get to see all those movies again. Like you can see Mighty Ducks, you can see D2, you can see D3. Actually, you know what? And Dylan Playfair is in the new Mighty Ducks series. You know, like, and it's just like I like it. I mean, man, I loved those fucking movies. They were awesome. And Emilio Estevez was great as like the coach. You know, they were great. They are a little bit
timely. Yeah.
Timely.
Yeah.
We'll call it timely. Still entertaining as fuck though.
Oh yeah. Well, I've never, so some people like criticize me because like I'll say like, oh, it was so great to grow up in the 90s and early 2000s. And then like I don't know. There's certain things that I don't know. Like I recently say in the last maybe 10 years got into Goo Goo Dolls and I'll listen to like a 90s song and they're like, how did you not listen to it when you're in the 90s? I'm like, because I was 6. I didn't know what fucking depression was. Leave me alone. But I watched. I watched.
Even if sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even if I did listen to the song, I didn't know what depression was then. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I remember the other night I was watching, I think it was like the first Sister Act with my mom for the first time, and I was like, I want to know like all about Whoopi Goldberg. I was just like, because I admire her, she's good, she's great in like things she does, but there are scenes that I'm just sitting like, bruh, like how'd you not get shot there? Like literally, you have them cornered in this like, I don't know, bar or well-established area, and then all the nuns come out and be like, "Don't shoot!" I'm like, no, that would be like the guy being like, "Bang, bang, bang!" Like, what do you mean, don't shoot?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Or,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or when they catch her, and like the two bad guys is like, "We can't kill her. She's a nun." It's like, and he's like, "But she's a fake nun." He's like, "Well, we don't know if she." I'm just like, no, that's so dumb. Like, why do you care? You're murderers. Why do you care if she's a real nun or a fake nun?
Hold on a minute. You're murderers. I didn't think you cared if they were.
Yeah, like you're mafia. It's like, I know we off like 3 guys this week, but I promised to my mom I was never gonna off a nun.
I swore on my mother's life and to her face I would never off a nun.
Yeah. Anyone else? Billy down the street, that little boy that brings you the paper, I'll off him, but that's not. Not for a nun.
Yeah, I'll off the little boy who brings you the paper, but a nun, that is off limits.
That's going to do it for this episode of Tobin Tonight. Our thanks to Nathan Dales for coming on to the show. Remember, you can find past, present, and future episodes on TobinTonight.com, Spotify, and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and leave a comment or two. For Tobin and myself, this is Jacob saying thank you for listening and good night.